got it, bro.
So, welcome, everyone.
Hey, James, turn it down a little bit.
Huh?
Music. All right, go ahead, JJ.
Oh, you talking to him. I was like, hold on, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
you're talking to me. I'm being too loud.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome
Go
back.
figure.
Welcome back as we kick off into the NFL Picks Show. Or it's something named, I just can't remember, but that's okay. But as you guys know, the 2024 season is kicking off underway. So I'll first start by just to introduce the guys here. To my, y'all figure it out, the Philly man, want to know, Mr. James Tatum, how you doing?
I'm feeling good. Before we start, I just want to say we lost two of the biggest legends. We lost Frankie Beverly this week, Philadelphia native, made so much great music. And then obviously the other one was James Earl Jones, the voice of Mufasa, the voice of Darth Vader, made so many great films. So I just want to shout those guys out and say RIP.
That's very true. Very true. We, unfortunately, they say we always lose things in threes. When you think about that, but that's life. But we definitely mourn the passing of James Earl Jones and Frankie Beverly. Two men that have made their marks to last the test of time. Because you come to a cookout, you already know.
Yeah, you couldn't have a cookout without Frankie Beverly and Mays, man. If Frankie Beverly and Mays wasn't on the deck, it wasn't a cookout. No matter how much barbecue you had there or Marvin Gaye playing, you gotta run Frankie Beverly and Mays in order to stamp it as a cookout. R.I.P. to one of the soul music goats. We gonna miss you, baby.
Bingo. So with that being said, we know James. We know Frankie Beverly, James Earl Jones. Everybody, that's R&B. That's Motown. And when it comes to Motown, we got to talk about and welcome my man who's fresh off a very impressive victory, Mr. DeRubeis up in Detroit. What's going on, man? It's good that you showed up.
I wouldn't say impressive, but we did not play our best, and we still won against the playoff team. So that's good. That's why this Lions team is different. We win close games. We win when we don't play our best. We should rock this music at low volumes for the whole show. I'm digging this vibe.
Bingo! You already know. Well, it's good to have you, man. It's been a minute, so it's good a chance to chop it up with you. Without further ado, though.
Hey, raise your hand if your team won this week.
Bingo! Y'all all raise your hands. We did not. It's all good. I knew it was coming, but that's okay.
Hey, you lost week one to the defending Super Bowl champs. Not everyone can do that.
We lost week one like 2 years ago to the Las Vegas Raiders. It's all good. It happens.
The Raiders.
I want to bring my man in from Mr. H-Town, Mr. Houston, the man who I don't know how fast he comes up with these different type of nicknames, but he does it every single time.
He's the nickname king.
Man, what's good? And JJ, man, I'll tell you, dude, absolutely nothing to hang your head about, because as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, I think the Ravens are still in good shape, because this was a game where the Ravens beat themselves up and they came within a toe tap touchdown called back for being out of bounds from tying it, and actually Harbaugh was going for 2 to win the game, so and maybe a glass half empty, glass half full type of deal, however you look at it. But just imagine if they were like on full throttle, they could have won by 2 scores had they not beaten themselves.
It's
a good
week
game.
one. It was a 1-score game. Week one anymore is glorified first half of preseason.
Said this for a long
game 3 first half.
I've
Everybody's
literally
rusty.
said this for a long time, and I don't care what anybody. I'm not saying you. I know you mean well, James. Definitely. For me, I don't trip. It's week one. I don't even care if we lost to the goddamn New Orleans Saints or Carolina Panthers. It's week one.
Whoa!
You know what I'm saying?
If you lost to the Panthers,
again, no, I don't care. It's week one. This is the funny thing about it's overreaction. Week one.
I'm with you.
Week one. If you're going to react and overreact to week one, we will not really see eye to eye on a lot of things, because that don't make no sense. So, without further ado, we will kick it off. Let's talk about some games. Tomorrow, we have an AFC East showdown between 2 teams that are projected to make the playoffs, maybe in different fashions. The Bills are in a different year. They've got a whole bunch of new weapons. They have a different defense. They lost their safety combo that's been so dominant for them. But they're going against a Miami team who didn't really have the type of impact game that you expected from them over the last couple of years, minus 1 year in 2019, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, back to this point. They got the win, though, but now they face off with a chance to claim number 1 in the AFC East for by default division starting now. So I'm going to turn it to you guys. Let's start off with James Tatum, because you're the closest one, to where these places are. Which do you have?
I have the Dolphins actually winning this game, which the Dolphins haven't really had that much success against Buffalo, but due to the Tyreek Hill incident that took place, which we're going to discuss later this week on the show more in detail, but I think when these type of things happen, it kind of gives your team a lot more energy. So that's why I expect the Dolphins to come out this season amped up and ready to go, and I think they're going to win this week.
Yep, I'll give you that. You got the Dolphins going on. Well, I do want to take it to time to say thank you guys in the comments for coming in. We got Bacon Grizzler. We got the Encyclopedia, who I haven't seen and talked to in a long time. Mr. Wyatt coming in, checking out with us. So that's good to go. So what's next? We're going to just go down the line. We got James. He gave his opinion. He got the Dolphins. Dom, who do you have?
Dolphins. It's a home game. It's obviously plenty hot still down there in Miami, and the Dolphins offense started to find their way. It's funny because I was watching the game log and I'm like, wow, they got Tyreek Hill shut down, and literally 5 seconds later, Tyreek Hill 80-yard touchdown pass. Yeah, Dolphins.
Okay. Yeah, it's that whole situation has definitely got a lot going on. So I definitely got a point to make them to get a chance to come back. All it took was with a half. Jay, H-Town's finest. This game has implications for our teams and our conference down the line.
What happened to your hairline?
Oh, this thing, and then I just kind of did this number. So yeah, I've always kind of had that hereditary hairline thing going. It actually is even more noticeable when there's not any hair up there. But anyhow, I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one. Both teams had to come from behind to beat their respective opponents last week by double digits. One of them probably had no business behind the other opponent, but the jury's still out on them this year. I'm going to take Miami in this one because I like their weapons a little bit better than the Bills. Although you may never know, Josh Allen may become Josh Allen. But I'm going to take Miami in this one. The spread is by 2. I'm going to say
2.5.
So
2.5.
Really, the Bills are a half-point favorite.
Kinda, sorta. You know what, JJ, you might not touch this line, but I like this line. I like that line. I'm gonna go ahead and take Bills, and I'm gonna take not Bills. I'm gonna take Dolphins and take the line on that one.
Oh,
Yeah, hold on. I gotta get in there. How can y'all be this disrespectful to this man on his birthday? Like, at least wish the man a happy birthday before you start roasting him in the comments. So Denzel, Jay. Just want to say happy birthday.
You know what? In all fairness to Bacon Grizz, I would love
He probably didn't know.
Hey, Stephen A. Smith some money, so we'll I can ride with that.
I'll take you over Stephen A. any day.
So, without
anyone would.
I will sit here and I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills because
Wolf alert.
Can you be quiet? I literally gave you. We're not going to do that this year. And we let everybody.
We're not doing none of that howling shit.
We let everybody speak. We set expectations this year because I didn't say a word while you guys were talking. So when I talk, you gotta be quiet. I appreciate you for that. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think I like what I know what they're gonna start to do because I'm gonna rely on James Cook because he has proven to be a valuable asset for that team. And I think at the end of the day, the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen in the beginning of the season has been successful. This is just going to be not easy. It's not going to be something that's probably going to be pretty, but I think they can get it done. So I'm going to sit there and be the lone wolf, and I'm going to go with Josh Allen. The spread.
Can't touch
probably it. Not. I think they're going to win by 2 or 1. Like it's like a field goal to win the game type situation. But I got the Bills winning.
All right.
So now we're going to turn over to, honestly, because the NFL season has Fridays, I'm not so sure if this is a Friday game. I haven't checked, but we'll talk about it.
No,
it's Sunday.
Yeah, because Friday games were interesting for me, but it's cool. We got the New Orleans Saints and Dallas Cowboys, two teams that had impressive victories by a lot of people's standards in the media. Dallas, they had an impressive, strong outing against a good Cleveland Browns team. Granted, they had not had their best weapon on offense, but they're still a pretty strong team in terms of on defense. But they handled their business. And then you got the New Orleans Saints. Yes, we know who they beat up, but they looked really good, dropping 40 plus points on the Carolina Panthers. And now they face off. So I'm going to bring it to my man who's at the top because he lives in that state. Jay, you got the Saints, you got the Cowboys. Who you going with?
They're going to be mad at me for this. Because this has a letdown game written all over it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I think you went muted, bro.
You're muted, my man.
Muted.
You're muted, my boy. You're muted. You are muted.
Man, he's going to have to run back his whole analysis after
maybe
this.
He can't hear us now. Jay, can you hear us?
Jay.
He cannot hear us. What are we saying, bro? Hey, yo, you were muted the whole time. You got to restart.
You got to mute. You got to restart, brother? We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Hey, I'm about to text him, bro. All right, you want to give it to somebody else? And then when Jay comes back, we'll go back to him.
All right, so with that being said, sorry, I had to let my friend know because I'm going to go to Dom. Who you got? Saints, Cowboys, and we'll get Jay back in here.
I wish I could have heard what Jay was saying for picking the Saints because I'm with it 100%. Well, I wasn't. I was going to take the Cowboys, but the Saints points, but I'm taking the Saints. Just the only thing I heard him say was letdown written all over it. So I'll take the Saints. Derek Carr, let's go.
That's enough of a reason.
Derek Carr, let's go.
Okay, so you got Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints taking on the Dallas Cowboys and defeating them. Jay, we'll circle back to you. Let's see if your mic is working properly. And then you give us your take.
No, we got you now.
So we left off with you saying it has a letdown game written all over it. Oh, he's tired.
Okay, so
What happened to my sound, man?
Got it. All right. So
Hey,
we're going to go
fixing
to
this out.
James.
No worries.
James, you tell us what you think. Who do you think is going to win?
Let me start this off by saying that when it comes to last week, I think that it says more about the Browns than it does the Cowboys. So I'll leave it at that. There was missed opportunities by Cleveland, mostly because of Deshaun Watson. I think that Derek Carr looks a lot better. He looked confident in that game against the Panthers. So I'm going to roll with it. I'm sticking with the Saints as well.
Okay, you got the Saints too. All right, so we're going to talk when Jay gets back. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's a letdown, and I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys for one very particular reason. And this reason has really made me kind of change the landscape of what they can do, especially on this side of the ball. Mike Zimmer is the defensive coordinator for these Dallas Cowboys. There is a defensive coordinator of that nature with that talent going against a good Saints team, but I don't think they're on the same type of level for that type of ability to come in. I think Dallas defense, because I have a ton of respect for Mike Zimmer as a defensive coordinator, I think they're going to lead the way to a big-time victory for the Dallas Cowboys against the Saints. I could see them winning. I would take that spread. I could actually see them winning by about 2 touchdowns because I think the New Orleans Saints, they did a good job against Carolina, but this is an elite defense and a top 5 defense that, in my opinion, got a better defensive coordinator than the one they got rid of at this junction in their careers. So I'm going with Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to win. I think the defense has. If I'm putting a bet out here, I'm definitely taking an interception for Derek Carr, and I'm definitely taking a sack or two for Micah Parsons. I definitely think Mike Zimmer. That's the one thing I learned about the game against the Cleveland Browns, where I took Amari Cooper. For the life of me, I couldn't understand why he wasn't getting off. As soon as I heard who his name was, I was like, okay. If I'd have known, I'd have never took it because I know his defense and I know what his defense is capable of. And I think that they're going to have a good game and beat the New Orleans Saints by 2 touchdowns. So with that being, Jay, is your thing working now? You want to give your take?
Y'all didn't hear my take at all?
Nope.
No, we didn't hear nothing you said.
The only thing we heard was letdown city.
Letdown game.
Okay, then. Okay, now, real quick, I took the Saints. Because this has been the Dallas Cowboys through the years. They'll lose to a team that they should beat right after beating someone who could be a playoff team or contender. Browns are just in the playoffs, had the number 1 defense. Now these letdown games tend to happen later on in the year. We'll see if they get this one out of the way early. So I'm going with the Saints.
Are you saying Cowboys gonna cowboy?
Yes.
Could be a new thing.
All right, next game.
All right, with the next game, we're going to sit here and talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Detroit Lions. So with that being said, we have 2 teams that actually have a lot of promise. We're going to start off with the team that is considered underrated to a degree, but they had a really good win against an upstart Washington team. Even though it's the Commanders, it is showing that they have some type of identity, and Baker looks pretty well playing as the starting quarterback. And then we got Dom, his Detroit Lions, who the reason why I say it's impressive is because when it was called time for something to get done, that beautiful offensive drive in the overtime let me know that, okay, that was no more playing around, and it's time for us to get things done. The offensive line, the defensive line is going to drive this Detroit Lions team. So with that being said, let's take it to Dom. Who you got? Honestly.
I'm a little nervous about this game. Baker had the best stats of any quarterback in week 1. I'm sure he's also got a pretty big chip on his shoulder after losing to us twice last year. I've still got the Lions, but I don't like that line. I'm thinking like 23-20, or it might be the shootout that I thought the Lions-Rams games could be. So I still got us, but not by 7. Godwin and Mike Evans might go for 250 between them. Because look what Cooper Kupp did to us, and look what Puka was doing before he got hurt.
Yeah. James?
Okay. I'm also going to pick the Lions because I think that the weapons they have is too much. They have so many ways they can hurt the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're playing at home where they play extremely well. So I'll take Detroit.
Me, I guess. Well, I thought about this game earlier today, and something was telling me to pick the Bucks because this has Mayfield's revenge, as it says on the screen, written all over it. But for now, I'm going to take the safe bet. The Lions won the last 2, one in the regular season, of course, one in the playoffs. I'm going to take the safe bet and take the Lions, but Baker outduels Goff. JJ?
I'm sorry about that, guys. I had a little message between family. Thank you, James, as always, for taking over when I get that.
Yeah,
but I'll take that off. So, if I overheard correctly, we have Lions from Dom, who knows his team. He doesn't like the spread. Gentlemen, help me recap what you guys picked.
We all picked the Lions.
We all pick Lions.
Y'all pick Lions. You know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to walk. I'm going to be the lone wolf on here because I'm curious to see if the run game that I saw against the Commanders is going to translate to against the Detroit Lions. Because if there was one thing that was an area of opportunity for the Detroit defense and it messed up everything else, was their ability to stop the run. And when you get a chance to run on them, I don't know what this defense is capable of yet. I will say that I do think that Tampa Bay is going to have to score if they want to win this game. Their defense is probably good, but I think Detroit's offense is much better. Detroit's offense is been together for 2.5, 3 years now. They know each other. They know exactly what they need to do. They know how to do it. That's nothing too much. But I do think Tampa Bay has what it takes to win this game. So I will take the spread because I'm not doing money line. I'll take the spread.
All right. Next game.
We're going to sit here and turn it over to, we have the Indianapolis Colts and we have the Green Bay Packers. Two teams that are probably in two different mentalities right now, two different mindsets, because the Colts, they were in a battle with a upstart Houston Texans, who is a high favorite to win the division, high favorite to possibly meet Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game. And Anthony Richardson came back in his first game after injury and looked pretty decent. They just didn't get the win. Green Bay, on the drive needed to try to win the game, they have seen their fortunes for this year take another possible step back because Jordan Love, they say 4 to 6 weeks, they say 6 to 8 weeks. The point is he is going to be gone for a significant period of time. So now I turn it to you, James Tatum. Oh, he's not there. Oh, he's right there. I am so tripping right now.
No, I'm right here. But
What do you got?
Look, I'm going to take the Colts. And I think the Packers are in a position where they really want to try to win some games. So when Jordan does come back, they're not too much in the hole. But I think you got to give respect to the Colts team. This is a team that was only like 2 or 3 plays versus the Texans last year to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And they played extremely well against Houston too. And Anthony Richardson looked good. He looked good in that game. Like those quarterbacks, he was going back and forth with CJ Stroud in that game. So I like the Colts. I like Shane Steichen, what he's doing. And I think the Colts are a good team that nobody is really talking that much about. So I think the Colts could definitely be a wild card this season. So I'm going to pick the Colts.
JJ? Not JJ.
I got you, Jay. I got you. I'm right here. I always like to give you guys more time just in case you may have remembered something that you wanted to say. So with that being said, Malik Willis, Anthony Richardson, let's go over to Mr. Dom DeRubeis, who has been critical of one of these quarterbacks.
Both, actually.
Both of them.
I was trying to be nice for my boy, but you know what? Yes, he's been critical for both of these quarterbacks. Who do you think is going to win this game?
The Colts by default. Malik Willis is probably the 31st or 32nd best backup in the NFL. This man has never thrown a touchdown pass. This man once tried to throw sand in the ocean and missed. Unless the Colts turn it over 5 times and the Packers do once or less, the Packers have absolutely no chance. I mean, I don't know how the Colts' run defense is, but unless we see, vintage Josh Jacobs,
yeah,
he would need to be both of those combined into one. Packers have absolutely no chance. Calling Ryan Tannehill. Are you there?
Okay. Ryan Tannehill, I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere.
On the couch.
So, right. So you got the Colts by default. Jay, it's you just beat this team. What do you have?
I'll make it quick. Short of a 250-yard rush day by Josh Jacobs, I've got Colts. AR5 is going to go mad, and he may throw for 2 or 3 of them things. So I've actually got the Colts by 10 points.
Thank you.
There you go. James, who did you get?
I picked the Colts.
I wanted you to be one. I got you. So I think I'm going to go with the Colts, but I think it's going to be a very close game. I think this is going to be very ugly because the Green Bay defense is very good. The Green Bay defense is the defense that can play. And I think that Anthony Richardson still has to, continue to develop because he had a good season, a starting season, and he got hurt. After one game, I need to see a little bit more. So I think it's going to be a turnover battle. And I think whoever wins the turnover battle wins this, and I think the Colts are going to win by way of 14.
The turnover margin.
16. I don't think that this is going to be that big time game. I will say I will take the rushing yards of both of these guys coming this weekend, and I would take the rushing attempts of both of their running backs and their rushing yards. And then you need to just identify which of the receivers do you feel like is going to be their force-fed person. And then we'll see how that goes. And I got it for them. I got the Colts winning by 2, 16-14. So, we are moving on to our next game. And we have Wyatt, who is a Colts fan. There you go. I'm happy for Wyatt. Wyatt's a very, very objective fan of his team. Sometimes he be ragging on him bad, but he's objective. So, which team needs this win more coming off of losses? The New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. We know the expectations of the New York Jets. We know everyone has been looking, whenever you look at the AFC, even though the Chiefs are considered the best of the best, if you ask people what is the team that could be a dark horse, this is the team that they talk about because of who their quarterback is and the defense, running back, the wide receivers, everything. And now we're facing the Tennessee Titans team who had a pretty good outing against, all things considered, against the Chicago Bears. Chicago won, granted, through ways of interceptions of both Will Levis, but they don't have high expectations. They did well for what they was worth. So I am going to sit here and lead this off, and I'll give you my pick. I'm going to go with the New York Jets, obviously. And I just got through saying how well they're playing, but I think the Jets are going to win by double digits. I think that the defense is going to cause a couple turnovers. Will Levis is still figuring it out. And the one thing that will happen to a quarterback in his new time that causes turnovers, pressure. And we know the Jets can bring the pressure. And we know that the Jets bring the pressure enough, and they got ball hawks all around the back end to capitalize on those forced throws or those miraculous plays. With that said, I am excited to sit here and say I will look at – I took Garrett Wilson's season-long receiving yards props, and I will take him again in this game because when you have Aaron Rodgers who has that ability to get the ball down the field, and you have a receiver who's been able to catch balls down the field with quarterbacks that are not even on the team, not even sure if they're part of rosters, you have to think that he has a chance to make some big-time games. And I think this is one of them. I think he's going to go for 100 yards, and I would take him as that in my bet. So I'm going to pass it to you, Dom. Who do you have?
I'm actually with you, JJ, for all the exact same reasons. On the Jets' first touchdown scoring drive in that game on Monday night against Frisco, Garrett Wilson was unguardable. 4 catches, 45 yards. Then they just completely went away from him for 3.5 quarters. I want to pick the Titans because I want to see the bottom completely fall out of the Jets, but I think the sense of urgency is there for the Jets. And Will Levis, like a lot of people were high on him, and he was having a really good first half, mostly due to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had a great first 3 quarters. Then they stopped running the ball. Then Will Levis turned it over. Then they were still in the lead. Rather than going back to the run game, they let Will Levis continue to turn the ball over. So yeah, I got the Jets on the strength of Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Breece Hall is going to have a bounce back game too.
Mm-hmm. Breece Hall is another one that's going to be massively impacted by Aaron Rodgers because we know Aaron Rodgers will utilize running backs in both the pass and the run game. So, James Tatum, you have green like the New York Jets. What do you got in this game?
First of all, it's not the same green. Second of all, I'm going to pick the Jets because I just can't get behind the Titans after what I saw last week. You're up 17 points against the Chicago Bears, and you pretty much give them the game in every way possible. Offense, defense, special teams totally fell apart. And, that's enough of a reason for me to say the Titans are not it. So I'm picking the Jets.
Okay. I'm feeling on that one. The Jets are the overwhelming. The Jets are the favorite, and they're favorite for a reason. I mean, the quarterback is representing large. Jay Nelson. These teams impact you in many ways. Who do you have? You too.
I actually was trying to find something interesting here that I was going to read off. And let's see here. Actually, I can't find it. Never mind. Okay. There was a quarterback last week who made his. He became the first.
I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
he became the first #1 overall rookie quarterback to win in his debut game since David Carr in 2002, and that's
Against
Caleb
the Cowboys.
Williams. Against the Cowboys. Who let that happen? The Tennessee Titans.
Even though Caleb Williams was terrible.
Yeah, threw for under 100 yards. Pretty much the only good thing that went for him was that he didn't turn the ball over. Okay, But outside of that, clearly the defense and special teams bailed him out. Shout out to Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles' husband, for that touchdown. I know he's received his share of criticism, but for other things, but that's another story. He went on ahead and got a touchdown and said, "Hey, shut the hell up." I'm going to take the Jets in this one. Aaron Rodgers last week did not look bad. The ball was coming out. He was mobile. And the only negative was the interception. It really wasn't his fault. It was like one of those weird tip interceptions. I expect the Titans to lose at home, away, whatever. I expect them to lose this game. I think Breece Hall has a bounce-back game. Garrett Wilson should definitely get more targets. The Titans' defense is solid, but if the Jets' offense gets rolling, I'm going to actually say Jets by about the same 10 points.
Okay. I feel you on that one. We all got the resounding Jets. Jets, Jets. Now, the top one I just want before we move on is that which team needs this win more coming off of the losses? Interesting to say that, because we are early in the season. And, especially with the quarterback on one of these teams who won a Super Bowl after being 8-6 at midway, like week 14 one time, or has been able to demonstrate. So I don't know if this means anything either way. Now we move on. We're going to sit here and go to the next game as we're moving. We have the San Francisco 49ers against the Minnesota Vikings. This is a very intriguing game. Very intriguing on different fronts for both teams. San Francisco, we know what to expect from them. We know what we kind of think from them. What we didn't know, but we probably should have known, is that with their system, you get any running back in there and they'll be successful. And we remember this guy's father and what his father did with the running backs that he had. So here comes Jordan Mason, who now is probably the #1 person in fantasy everybody wants, the #1 person to take on props when it comes to things, because he had a magnificent game against a team we just talked about with high aspirations and a great defense. So we take that team and we're facing against a Minnesota Vikings team who actually, while they played the New York Giants, they didn't look too bad, but it is the Minnesota Vikings with Sam Darnold. But if you looked at how Sam Darnold played, he played better than pretty much what you have been expected from him from the beginning of his career to probably now. And then on top of that, Justin Jefferson is back. Jordan Addison, we're not sure what's going on with him because he definitely did injure himself, but they have something there. Is it enough, Dom?
Yeah.
Is it enough to upset? Or let me ask you a better question for all you gentlemen. If we all have Minnesota losing, if you don't have a Minnesota losing, then tell us why. But if you all have a Minnesota losing, take that spread for them to cover or not. Tell me, Dom, what you think?
I think the Vikings cover. I called it as soon as JJ McCarthy got hurt. This is the Sam Darnold revenge tour / resurrection year. Aaron Jones had a good game, but I don't think they can beat the Niners. Plus, I'm pretty sure CMC is going to be back. Like, Sam Darnold will have a good game, but not good enough to beat the Niners. Although I don't like the spread. I think they keep it closer than 6 points.
There you go. So you think it's going to be closer, but you got the Niners winning.
Yes.
All right. So now we'll go to James Tatum. These teams are in your conference with Dom. Dom, we already know how he feels, but this team that is playing this one is a team that's rumored to possibly come across you guys en route to where you guys both want to go. So you tell me, because you have been on this 49er, like, they're not that this. They're kind of like not as good as you think they are. They're overhyped and a little bit overrated. You tell me, are you taking the spread or do you have Minnesota winning?
Before I give my answer, I want to just say that I hate both of these teams.
Me too.
And I have a rant prepared for the sports moron when it comes to the 49ers, so I can't really go off tonight. But I will say that don't let the last game fool you of Sam Darnold versus he's playing the Giants. So pump the brakes with Sam Darnold. He ain't going to do shit to the 49ers defense. They have too much talent. They have Fred Warner. They have all these great players on the defense side of the ball. It's going to cause chaos for Minnesota, and the 49ers win by double digits.
Okay. So you got 49ers winning this game. So we'll turn to Jay Nelson. Houston, Bred, tell us what you think, man. You got the 49ers. If you got them winning, they covering the spread, or you got Minnesota covering the spread?
Hell no. Niners by double digits. People don't get it twisted, okay? That Sam Darnold's back. Look, he played Rutgers University, all right? Let's not kid ourselves, okay? Danny Pennies was on the other side. With that being said, Niners go off, especially if C-Mac comes back. Yo, this could get ugly in a hurry. Niners by double digits.
Daniel Jones, by the way,
to be said. Daniel
Jones has more touchdown passes to the other team than his own team since he got that money.
I'm glad that you brought that up, and let's segue back over to me because that is a very, very interesting stat. That is an interesting stat that when you hear it, because the contract was signed, 2 years ago?
No, 2 years ago in the offseason, but he only played like 3 games and got hurt.
And then last year, he played most of the games. And so it's like...
No. Oh. He signed it in the offseason before last year, then he got hurt like 3 games into this year, or into last year. So he's played like 4 games on that contract.
So you know what? Let me turn around and say that's an amazing stat because I thought it was literally 16, 17 games. And I was just like, wow.
I thought that too. Then I looked.
I was like, wow, that's bad. No way. But no, we go 49ers and Vikings. I'm going to take the 49ers and I'm going to take them to push this spread. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to be competitive. I think the Minnesota Vikings are not going to win. But I will say I do like San Francisco. I would take George Kittle receiving yards because he is a favorite target and he is definitely, I have been making these cases all these years. At this junction, he is definitely the second best tight end in the game. Better than number 3, which is still, in my opinion, Mark Andrews. Because when you see, and sorry, bro, your boy is number 4 and 5. He's right there. He's right there. He is right there. It's just not there yet. He's right there.
I'm not even saying Laporta. I just don't know that Kittle's...
No, but you have to give Kittle his respect because even last year when he stayed healthy...
I love George Kittle.
He was a difference maker, and he's a blocker, and he's a great guy. I think he's going to be enough to take the receiving yards, and I will sit there and say, you cashed me out this week a little bit. Appreciate it.
We got to move on to the next game.
Okay. Thank you, boss. Bingo. So I never stop playing with you, bro. Absolutely. Let's go to the next game. We got the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. One team was probably expected to win their game because they were facing a team that wasn't really good or lesser, and then the other team beat a team that now people are starting to question. So let's do Ringer. Who haven't we heard from first? Let's go ahead and get your opinions on this. We have Gerard Mayo, versus Ravens former defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. Dom, Seahawks or Sea Chickens, as you say, or Patriots or Cheatriots, as you say?
I've got the Seahawks. I don't know what happened week 1 when the Patriots played Cincy. I mean, Burrow's probably a little rusty. No T. Higgins. Jamar Chase had only practiced, twice in probably 2 months. But no, like the Seahawks defense is just too good. I mean, come on. Jacoby Brissett, come on. Seahawks have too many weapons. They're too good, even on the road. Like, it's not like it's December. Come on. Seahawks by 10.
Seahawks by 10. Yeah, I can understand that. So then let's go in the NFC. James Tatum, who you got?
I'm actually going to pick the Patriots. I like a lot of what I saw. You're going to get Cincinnati, a team that has a high-power offense, great quarterback, great wide receivers, and they did a really good job, hanging in there. So if they can do a performance like that in Cincinnati, I don't think it matters the weapons. I know they have Smith-Njigba and they have Kenneth Walker and all these guys. They got good players, but if they can withstand the Bengals offense, they can withstand the Seahawks offense. So I'll pick the Patriots at home.
I get you on that one. That's a very good point. He did withstand a very good offense. So, Jay Nelson. Mr. Jay Nelson. What do you got, my man?
I am actually going to go Seahawks, but I expect this to be a close game. Probably the closest game that we've covered thus far on this show thus far. The Denver Broncos accomplished 3 safeties last week, and it was only a 6-point loss. So, with that being said, I've got the Seahawks in this one.
2, not 3.
Was it 2 or 3?
2.
Yeah, 2. Anyway, a multi-safety game, chances are you're kind of supposed to win that one. But yet and still, the Denver Broncos, despite Bo Nix not really being spectacular, it was still a 6-point game, 26-20. So I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. I expect the Patriots to keep it close, though. It may be a 1-point victory, so I do like the line.
Bo Nix at one point had 20 completions for less than 100 yards.
Really?
Hey, JJ?
I'm listening. I heard you. I got you. So, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I think what I'm seeing with the Patriots, and that always seems to happen, is when you have a new coach, especially a coach that used to be a player, 9 times out of 10, the one thing that they're going to try to bring over is heart and toughness. They're going to try to be the ones that are going to get you in shape because they were players. They know what it takes. They know what it takes to be great. And that's usually what they bring off. Dom, you have personal experience with that because that's exactly what Dan Campbell did when he came over to Detroit. He instilled some toughness and he instilled some grit. You know what? I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one, though, because I think that I can rely on Kenneth Walker. I can rely on Kenneth Walker and Geno to do just enough to win this game. But I am going to take the Patriots to cover because I think it's going to be, like Jay had said, a very close match. I think there's going to be some maybe like New England gets up by 2 scores. Then it becomes like 14-3 or 14-6 at half. Then New England goes up by goes to 20, try to go for a conversion, and then like Seahawks make their way. I feel like it's going to be one of those weird games where you just think somebody's about to be out, and then here comes the Seahawks, and you're just like, okay. So I got the Seahawks winning this one, but I got the Patriots covering. So as we know, our next matchup is going to be, I love waiting because the anticipation is killing me. Except for this part. This anticipation killing me is interesting. Now, just say how bad the Giants are to lose so we can move on. I'm not so sure they're going to lose, though, because they are facing a team that is not exactly that great as well. Granted, as you can see, the Commanders are favorites. So, let's do Jay Nelson, since I'm pretty sure you came up with this, caption.
Of course I did.
After you sat here and listened to talk about both brag on the Giants, and we got the Commanders. You think the Commanders are going to cover that spread and win this game?
of the three rookie quarterbacks that made their debuts this weekend, it's fair to say JD5 looked the best out of all of them. He ran in 2 scores. I know they lost bad to the Buccaneers, but it is the Buccaneers. It's considered a good loss, but it's still the Giants they're facing. So may sound a bit bold, but I got Commanders by 2 scores on this one. I didn't even have to think twice about it.
Say less on that one. Let's take it away. What more can you say about that one, James Tatum? Hey, this is your division through and through. Not that you care about either one of them.
It's a battle of 2 teams.
Battle of third and fourth.
2 teams that.
James is so happy that he's got walkovers.
Hold on. I forgot.
What?
I didn't want to be interrupted. Let's make sure.
You know what?
Thing.
I think it's going to end in a tie. That's what
Come on, man.
That's what I think.
What's
the score, though? What's the score?
Who's going to lose? The Giants.
But if it's a tie, what's the score?
8-8.
That's terrible. 22-3. Commanders.
Okay.
Tom's going.
Who do you have?
I've got the Commanders, although, like I said, the spread in fairly evenly matched teams, you get 3 points at home. So really, the Giants are 1.5 point favorites. But come on now, low scoring game. Commanders 13 to some weird score 8.
11-8 final score.
13-8. Okay. Let me ask you this, Dom, and I'll get to me in a second. Is this game going to turn out to a scoregami? We got the encyclopedia right here, and Wyatt.
Scoregami, what's that?
Basically, you have a score that's never been done in the NFL.
I can see it.
Y'all gonna laugh. Y'all gonna laugh. Watch them score be 35-34, and they gonna light it up out here because we're just sitting there laughing.
Could be. I don't know, like, if Jaden Daniels just doesn't know who Terry McLaurin is at all, but he had, 2 catches on maybe 3 targets that whole game. Like, Terry McLaurin is the new DJ Moore. He's the best receiver in the NFL that no one's talking about, and he did nothing.
It's his first game. Give him some time. But at the end of the day,
I like Jaden Daniels a lot more than Caleb Williams.
I'm going to take Jaden Daniels. I'm going to take the Commanders with this, and I'm actually going to take them to cover that because I know one thing a rookie quarterback's going to do. They're going to rely on what makes them good and help them work, and the Giants have been proven to not be able to stop mobile quarterbacks. And I know Jaden McDaniels and what he did against Tampa Bay, he's going to do the same against the New York Giants, and I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win by 7 points. I got this game about 17-10. I definitely think both quarterbacks are going to throw interception. I definitely think both quarterbacks are going to have a fumble. And I definitely think that field position is going to dictate this game. I don't see the offenses I see offenses stunting between outside the 20s. Inside the 20s, I don't see them doing great.
Daniels didn't throw a pick last week, but he did have 2 fumbles lost.
Bingo. And so now we got the Los Angeles Chargers versus, poor guys, the Carolina Panthers. Poor guys over here.
The North Carolina A&T Miners.
They are who at this point they are definitely they don't have a direction. They need something.
They're just stimming to next
Carolina
season.
Panthers, who just got 40 hung up on their head, are coming against a team who is a bit of an unknown, but a bit of an unknown that people think could be a turn into a dark horse. And I am happy to say this because the only thing that stops this guy from being good and effective is health. And we've seen a good J.K. Dobbins have a great game to start his career in Los Angeles with my team's coach's brother, who is a well-respected coach in the NFL. And if you don't think they have the reasons to be have promise and everything like that, because you look at the offense, this coach is the type of guy that can maximize with what you think he can. Because when they started making their headway earlier in their careers, when he got in San Francisco, they didn't have a ton on the offensive side either. They had a running back that they could rely on, and an offensive line that was kind of halfway decent, and a quarterback that doesn't make the least amount of decisions. And now you have a team with a guy who is a quarterback that is, for all intents and purposes, a pretty high caliber guy. Do we have the Carolina Panthers covering the spread? Dom?
Absolutely not. Go figure. Jim Harbaugh shows up in LA with a quarterback with probably top 5 arm talent in the NFL, top 5 contract to go along with it, and he has his worst statistical game in a win or a loss in his career. I mean, I'm not surprised. We know what Jim Harbaugh likes to do. He likes to run it till the wheels fall off. I think it's a shaky proposition with Dobbins and or Gus Edwards, but they're not losing to the Panthers. Either they run the piss out of it and they're going to beat them bad either way. It's not even close. Panthers relegation.
Panthers relegation. James Tatum.
No,
Spread covering or not?
On the relegation point, I'm actually a huge fan of European soccer. You guys know that, but when teams are so bad, they actually get relegated from the league and they have to play in like the B League. So I think the Panthers are that bad that they should be relegated to the XFL or something. That's how bad I think the team is. So I think the Chargers are going to also destroy them, and that's it. So yeah, cover the spread, guaranteed.
The Panthers are so bad that the Chargers for 1 week will not charger.
Infamous, if everybody knows, Dom's infamous is Chargers on Charger. They now
I kind of like when he says it though.
Yeah.
I actually expected Dom to say that they were going to charge her, because if it was any letdown game for the Chargers, it would be this one. But no, I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. The Saints put up 47 last week on them. Chargers put up 35. So I'll say 35-10 Chargers. Dobbins goes off again. Herbert probably throws for 2 touchdowns. So there you have it.
Okay. So bring that back up for me, please, because I didn't get a chance to make my pick. So let's bring that back up real quick. Because I'm going to sit here and say this. I agree with Jay on this one. That spread looks like a trap. That spread looks like a trap for the simple fact of the New Orleans Saints just dropped 47 on this squad. And the spread for a team that is considered to possibly have a higher chance of making the playoffs with, the Chargers, their spread is only that much. Not even like a touchdown. Or, 8 points. It's really interesting. Either they don't know what the lines are going to be, or that might be a trap. So I got the Chargers winning, but I would not touch any of this crap. I don't know if they're going to cover. I don't know if they're not. I just got the Chargers winning. And I will take J.K. Dobbins in those rushing yards for Prize Picks, FanDuel, Underdog, even though I only do Prize Picks. And I only do a FanDuel right now. Now we go to the next game. We go to the next game where we have an AFC showdown. We have the AFC North versus the AFC South. Hey, North-South, bingo, let's go. We have 2 teams that have aspirations. Did not go their way last week. I would actually say, my question is, it's kind of related to that, is with Deshaun Watson. Who do you feel like wants to come out and, because we know people will react to things and take them to the extreme from like week 1, who do you think sees that and wants to come out and is going to prove it that they are not that team? Who has the most to prove in terms of that? Go with you, Jay. Who you got and who has the most to prove?
Easily the most to prove is Watson. He the one in the cellar right now. But Jags, Watson was horrible last week. He was, and I get it. He faced an elite defense in the Cowboys. But this is what happens when you hold out for an entire year. Then you got all the other stuff going on. He spent so long out of football that it's just now catching up to him. And so, and then the Jaguars, because the Jaguars had a It was a 10-score lead. 10-score. It was a 2-score game. 17-7. Late in the third, they had the opportunity to go up 24-7 when that fumble happened. That fumble happened, and here came the Dolphins. The Jaguars do not make that same mistake this week. In fact, they don't even fall behind 10 or anything like that. They don't. They get a lead, they keep it. Trevor Lawrence has a good game. I'm going to say Jags by the score it should have been last week, 24-7.
There you go. All right, Dom, who you got?
As I've said multiple times prior to just now, the odds makers have it as they pick them because the Jags get the default 3 at home, but until I see Deshaun Watson play even one snap and look like Houston Texans Deshaun Watson, I don't know if they win a game until Nick Chubb comes back. Jaguars by at least 10.
Okay. James Tatum. Now, James Tatum, I have a feeling, may have had something to play with the caption a little bit too.
Well,
what you
here's
got?
what I have to say. First of all, I don't have any comment on that. Second, I think that this is a must-win game for the Browns because of the pressure that Deshaun Watson is on after his brutal performance with the Cowboys. You got to come out of this game and you got to get a win. You can't start the season 0-2. You're already going to be falling behind, and you already have people talking about you and how bad you're playing and how you've never even looked like 1% of the player you used to be. So they have to go win this game, and that's the major reason why I'm going to actually take them to beat the Jaguars. It's a must-win for the Browns. The pressure is there. Deshaun Watson has all the people in his ear, and it's extremely crucial for the Browns to win this game.
Okay, so we got the Jaguars. I think that leaves me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the lone wolf. I'm going to take the Browns.
I took the Browns.
Oh, you took the Browns too?
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. I really thought I heard you say you take the Jags. But I'm going to take the Browns too, because I'm going to take their defense to help their offense. And I do still have a little bit of a resemblance to think that he has a chance. But I will say his best salvation to even look remotely close to what he wants to be known as again, you need the best player on your team to come back. And we don't know when he's coming back. But for right now, I will give their defense a chance to give them just enough to let him and that offense at least get into field goal position to win this game. I think this game is going to be, I think the offenses are going to do a little bit of something, but I think it's going to slow down. And I will say, if I was doing bets, I will take Myles Garrett's sack, one of my favorite props. I will take Evan Ingram receptions or Christian Kirk receptions because Jim Schwartz runs the Browns defense. We know what Jim Schwartz wants to do. And if you blitz him the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence's 2 favorite targets when he's always in the bind has been Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. So I would take those 2 guys to cover their receptions. But I got the Browns winning this game, and I actually got the Browns covering the spread because I don't think it's going to be a money line thing. So we turn it over to our next game. I wonder who it's going to be. Our teams haven't come up at one time. Oh, and lo and behold, here comes my squad. We have Antonio Pierce coaching the Las Vegas Raiders coming to Baltimore Stadium, M&T Bank, for a head showdown with the Baltimore Ravens. As a Raven fan, I will say first to make the 1 point, I am not touching that spread. I'll make that very clear. But we have 2 teams that one is just trying to figure out, continue to compete and win some games. The other is just continue trying to get everything in order because they know what they're all about. They know they just took a loss against the defending champions with a quarterback who is considered now a top 5 quarterback by a lot of people's counts, not just for his era, not just for this decade, people are having him in the top 5 all time. So that's okay. But do the Raiders have what it takes to take on and go to Baltimore and beat the Baltimore Ravens? Dom DeRubeis has been critical of the guy that plays for the Baltimore Ravens. And I ask you, does Gardner Minshew have enough to beat the Ravens? And if you don't think they're going to beat the Ravens, would you think they're going to cover this spread?
The Raiders have no chance to win this game, but I think they can cover the spread. 9.5 is a crazy spread, period, let alone in week 2. Like I was saying on one of those other games, 6.5 seemed like a lot. 9.5, that's crazy. But no, Ravens win 28-20.
28-20. Okay. That's too high for my taste, because I'm a defensive guy. Jay Nelson. These teams are teams that you will probably be keeping an eye on as the season goes on.
Right on.
Who do you have? And whoever you don't have winning, are they covering the spread?
I'm going to take Ravens in this one. I know why you don't like that line, because that line is too close to a double-digit spread, and you sneeze at double-digit spread. So I understand, brother, okay? But with that being said, I'll take Ravens. Ravens know that they were that close to knocking off the champs last week. So this is their bounce-back game. It won't take much to bounce back. While Minshew is a decent quarterback and such, but the Ravens are too much. It's too much Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and say 35-21 Ravens. So
covering that spread for sure.
Yeah, no to the line. Well, hey, look who's here.
Well. Look who decided to come on and send out with The Last of Us. It's our boy. Hey, first and foremost, we are here for you because we know what happened on that Sunday was not expected, but the end is not near.
Jordan Love isn't even the worst thing. Malik Willis is.
True. So we're going to jump in. James, if you don't mind, we're going to let Tyler come in and see if he can give us a little opinion on who does he have to win this game. And whoever you don't have to win this game, are they covering the spread between the Raiders and the Ravens?
I definitely have the Ravens winning this game. I didn't see nothing from the Raiders last week, even against the Chargers. There was really not even any glimpses of them looking that good. I think the Ravens cover this game too. I think this is maybe a 16-point win for the Ravens. So I think the Ravens are going to play inspired this week, especially losing last week. I think we'll see a lot more Isaiah Likely for the future here, the volume that he got. So yeah, I got the Ravens rolling in this one.
Okay.
So Lamar Jackson, racist to his tight ends, confirmed?
Yeah, I mean, not, and I'm not saying anything about JJ's team. Obviously, the Ravens are going to do what they want. But like I said, I don't believe the Raiders didn't show me anything last week.
It's the Raiders, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean, last year they played a little inspired with Antonio Pierce, but going off of last week, I thought that was probably the boringest football game of the week, honestly. And the Raiders looked really stale. So
yeah, okay. You get stomped by the Chargers, and Herbert has like his worst game as a pro.
All right, Dom. Let's see what James got to say. James, they got weigh in on this, man. You got the Raiders, you got the Ravens, and if you don't got whoever you got losing, covering the spread.
When I look at this game, I say this game has the potential to be a trap game for the Ravens, simply because of the fact that everyone is saying how bad the Raiders are and how bad they played in the first game. But you still have to look at the team and say they do have some good players. Devontae Adams is still there. Gardner Minshew is an experienced quarterback, so I think the Ravens probably will still win the game. I will pick the Ravens to win the game, but it might be closer than anybody thinks, and I definitely think they will cover over the 9.5. So I will pick the Ravens.
So you know what's interesting, and I'm glad that you brought this up. This is a perfect segue, is because I said at the top of this matchup, I don't like the spread, and it definitely has partly to do with what Jay said about the double digits. I don't really like the double digits, but it also has to touch into what James has said as well. One thing I've noticed about my team, when we come across teams that have a new head coach, and particularly a player as a new head coach, those games can go up and down. While we beat the Houston Texans last year, that game at halftime could have went a different direction. And then what happens as an added dynamic is, I believe, and I'm a fact check, I feel like a fact check, Gardner Minshew almost beat the Ravens with the Colts last year.
He did.
And so if there's a person, and he made Michael Pittman get some yards against us, so if there's somewhere you have a rookie head coach who instills toughness and trying to run the football, old-fashioned football coming your way, then you have a quarterback who has been shown that he's not afraid of going against your defense. Because if he was, he'd have got his butt cooked when he played you, but he didn't. So it's not as if he doesn't know that he can go against this squad. And then the Ravens' offensive line is still figuring itself out. I honestly think this game is going to be won. I actually have the Ravens 24, the Raiders 21. I actually think this is going to be a very game for Ravens to have to just be like, you know what? I think the Ravens fans, they're going to be sitting there thinking like, why is this game so close? Why are they competing with us? Why are they still here? And yes, anyone who's talked to me over the last, couple months, just looking at text messages, I'm very confident about my squad. But I do know a trap game when I see it. And I've seen this before when I've seen my team lose teams I never thought they should have. And the common theme is when a rookie head coach comes, if there's a stream of talent that's going in there, see with the Texans, a lot of their talent was unproven. They hadn't had a chance to really gel with like Nico Collins, Tank Dell, all of them. Devontae Adams is proven. Gardner Minshew is proven to be sufficient as a quarterback, so I think that's going to be a lot. I actually will not really touch any bets on this game, but I will take the Raiders to cover this spread with the Ravens winning 24-21. Now that we got my team out the way, thank you goodness, we're going to go to a very intriguing NFC West matchup because we have two teams that, while they lost, they were competing against some quality opponents. They were competing against some quality opponents and almost beat them. One lost by 6 points, the Arizona Cardinals, to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and the other lost in overtime where they didn't even get a chance to get the ball. So who knows what could have happened if they had a chance to get the ball. And if you're watching that game, that second half, Matthew Stafford was starting to get going.
If the Rams got the ball, they were going to win that game.
They more than likely might have been a possible case as well, because I say this to say, Kyron Williams is a pretty darn good running back coming up, and they rely on him on that team. So when I asked, let's take with Tyler. Tyler, Arizona or the Rams?
Ooh, interesting game. The Cardinals look much improved. Granted, Harrison didn't show anything last week. Just had, I believe, a reception in the game, so we'll see if he gets going. Rams, obviously Puka's hurt, so Puka won't be playing in this game, but it kind of don't matter because Cooper Kupp, showed his emergence last week, was big time for the Rams. I think this is, to be honest, the spread is about kind of where I thought it would be because the Cardinals look like they're riding a lot of momentum going into this week, especially by the way they played the Bills. I'm still going to pick the Rams to win this game. I think the Rams just look like a playoff team to me if they can stay healthy. If Stafford can stay healthy all season, the Rams really look like a playoff team to me. The Cardinals are much improved. They are a much improved football team. And I think everyone's talking about Kyler, but you look at even their defense, the way they played at times against the Bills in that game. Prater, they still have Prater that can kick in big time moments. I think this is going to be an interesting game. This should be a shootout this week, but I'll say the Rams cover. I say the Rams will win this, but it'll be less than a touchdown. So I'll say Rams by like 4 or 5.
Okay, I'll give you that. All right. So now we'll start running from the
Are
top.
the Cardinals the favorites? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think Rams win this regardless. So.
The Cardinals are the favorites. So Dom, who do you have?
Rams.
You just faced the one of them.
Rams, and it's by a lot more than 1.5, 2 points. Kyler Murray, of his 21 completions last week, 2 were to wide receivers. The Cardinals are still the Cardinals until further proven. Would they win 4 or 5 games last year? They won't be that bad this year, but the Rams are a playoff team. They might win that division if Frisco falters. I got the Rams by 10.
Okay.
28-18.
Jay, Rams, Cardinals.
I'm actually going to pick the Cards. Yeah, because the Rams are banged up. And they know that Puka Nacua is out, so they're really going to zone in on Cooper Kupp. Not only that, but once again, this is another team that had a double-digit lead, and then they let Josh Allen come back on them on this one. Unless Kyron Williams has a 150-yard day, I've got the Cardinals by a field goal. I'm going to say Cards 26-23.
Not bad, not bad. James?
I'm also going to make the Cardinals in this one. I was actually somewhat impressed by the Cardinals against the Bills. They really had a chance to go win that game. But the Rams really are banged up at the moment if you look at it. Not just Puka Nacua being out, but they have, I think, 3 starters on their offensive line that is not healthy at the moment. So in the NFL, you got to win in the line of scrimmage. So if your offensive line is not there, it's going to cause problems. So I feel like not only with Nacua being out, but how are you going to really get Kyron Williams going if the offensive line play is not there? So I'll take the Cardinals in a close game.
All right. So I think that leaves pretty much me. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals as well. And it's strictly just because they're banged. Rams are banged up. I actually think the Rams are the better team. I actually like what the Rams are about. They have a quarterback. They have a running back. It won't be easy because if there's a team with a quarterback that knows how to win with less or win with a banged-up squad or be banged up himself, it is Stafford. You got to give that man credit. All his times in Detroit where he's had, the early years with no Javid Best, where they were trying to get on, or Michael LaShore, where they were trying to depend on the in and outs of like Marvin Jones, a couple of years. So Stafford's used to that. But I think I will say the offensive line is the biggest worry. If their offensive line maybe had only one person banged up, that would have been enough for me to feel confident. But 3, it's tough. It's tough. Because when they were playing, as Dom knows, those 3 offensive, I think his name's Lovebloom or one, I forgot his name. But he was doing good against Aiden Hutchinson. But I say that to say, I got Arizona winning this one. And I actually think I will take them to win because I got the spread because I think they're winning by a field goal. So let's keep it moving. I love these, week 1, week 2, 17, 18 games. You love it. We have the leaders of the AFC North right now. The Justin Fields-led Pittsburgh Steelers against the Denver Broncos, who are, you don't know. You got a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. This is ironic because both quarterbacks are kind of the same type because as much as Bo thinks he can throw throws, he depends on his legs just as much as Justin does. And so it's interesting that we have these 2 dynamics. Now, I'm going to take this to Dom DeRubeis because I know how he's felt about this quarterback. Is Justin Fields going to be 2-0 after this week?
I would say yes, cautiously. He showed me a little bit more than Bo Nix did, even though it's on the road. And I was hyped. A lot of people were hyped on Bo Nix with with Sean Payton as a quarterback whisperer, but until Bo Nix can surpass the 100-yard passing plateau in the first half, I've got the Steelers. Their defense is too good, and I just I don't see it. The Broncos are not as good as I thought they were. I mean, I didn't think they were good at all, but I thought they'd be better than this. That's it.
I was getting ready to say, what would you expect?
I don't know. I figured Bo Nix had some coming into the league at 30 years old.
Yeah, okay. So, James Tatum, Justin Fields, or Bo Nix?
I don't think it comes down to that, if I'm telling the truth. I think it comes down to the defenses. And when you look at the Steelers, this is a team that rookie quarterbacks usually don't have a lot of success against. So for that reason, with TJ Watt and all these players that they have, Mika Fitzpatrick on the back end, I think it's going to cause an issue for Bo Nix. The rookie quarterback is inexperienced. They're going to throw a lot of different things at him. So I'll take the Steelers.
Okay. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know we did Dom. I know we did James. Tyler. Justin Fields, Mr. Ohio State, or Bo Nix, Mr. Harvard.
Yeah, I agree with James on this one. I'm taking the quarterbacks out of this. I think this is gonna be a sloppy football game. But what does Pittsburgh do good? Pittsburgh does good at winning sloppy football games, and I think that's what's gonna come down here. Give me a weird score, 18-11. I'll take the Steelers.
Only 1 point more than last week, 18-10. Oh, 18-10.
Yeah, I'll take 18-11 this week then. But yeah, I got Pittsburgh.
Okay, you got Pittsburgh, and Jay, you'll get there, and I'll wrap it up with that one.
I'll go a couple of points less. I'm going to say Steelers 14-10. It'll be close, but I mean, I know this kind of has actually, no, scratch that. This is not a Bo Nix breakout game. He'll get his first win in week 3 or 4. The difference is going to be TJ Watt, like Wyatt is saying in the comments there. I think he's going to wreak havoc. The Steelers defense is still the Steelers defense at the end of the day. But it like Tyler said, it's going to be a sloppy game. Not a weird score. Again, 14-10. Broncos may score late and then have an opportunity to get the ball back, but then the Steelers will run the clock out. So 14-10, Steel City.
14-10, Steel City. Okay. So, I know these teams very well. The Ravens play the Broncos pretty often, so they know the Steelers back and through. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers because I think I'm excited to say this because it's a rival. A game-recognized game. TJ Watt is the best defensive player in the game, in my opinion. Or not the best defensive player, the best edge rusher in the game, in my opinion. I don't think, when I watch this guy play, he has the same abilities of the Lawrence Taylors, the J.J. Watts, the Troy Polomalus. If you watch what they played against the Falcons, TJ Watt was the MVP of that game. 2 strip sacks were taken back because of penalties, and then he ends the game.
Yep.
That alone, and then I see you coming up against a Denver squad with a rookie quarterback. Oh, I'm taking that defense at TJ Watt to make a couple few turnovers. I think TJ Watt's going to have a big game. I'm taking his sacks. I might even take 2 sacks if it's possible because I know what that guy in that defense is capable of. I think the Steelers are going to win on the stage of their defense, because I think Denver's defense is going to have Justin Fields a little bit in a rut. One thing that was different between the Steelers last week and the Broncos this week is that there's no Patrick Surtain. So Patrick Surtain is now coming up against George Pickens, and I think that's a very good matchup that, if you watched last week, George Pickens was relied on a lot upon from Justin Fields. So if you can take him away, there's a chance for you to stay competitive. But I ultimately think I got the Steelers because I think TJ Watt, I have so much respect for him. He's my new love-hate to Troy Polamalu. I can watch that dude play all day, and I think he's going to be the reason why they win this game. So now, we continue to move on, because there's some teams that we haven't talked about. I wonder who we're going to come against next. Oh, amazing is that. This, I think, is the Sunday night? No, 4 o'clock game.
Yeah.
4 o'clock game. I know it's a Sunday night. I remember that one. So we got two teams that we said earlier in the segment, like when we were talking about the Patriots. These two teams are people thinking that could be in the AFC Championship going against each other. These two teams feature two guys that people consider the top two. And one is 1, 2 is 2. And then it's everyone else. These teams are teams that we have so much expectations for. One did what they're supposed to do against an elite team. The other fell and has some issues because T. Higgins is still hurt. Jamar Chase, you don't know what's going on with his contract situation, how he's going about things. And then you also have no Joe Mixon. And then on the other side, personal experience, the guy's got burners. His name is Xavier Worthy. Now, let's go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe. Tyler, could you tell me who you got? Mahomes or you got Bengals?
I got the Chiefs. A couple weeks ago on the Gauntlet, we were talking about like maybe the most overrated team in the NFL, or who, and my take was Cincinnati. I thought, I don't believe in this defense. I certainly don't believe in them against the Chiefs and Arrowhead. I know they call it Burrowhead at some point. Yes, I know people are gonna, last week, the Bengals, obviously, it was week 1, right? They're a better team than New England. All of that being said, that is not the kind of momentum you want going into Kansas City in week 2. I got the Chiefs winning this game. I got the Chiefs covering in this game. I think the Chiefs win this game possibly by 2 touchdowns.
Possibly by 2 touchdowns. I can see that. I can. Let's keep going with that one. So, let's try this a different thing. James, do you agree with Tyler? 2 touchdowns, or do you think it's going to be a win but a different outcome?
I think it'll probably be a win for the Chiefs, but I don't see 2 touchdowns. One thing I will say, though, is I think the Jamar Chase situation and his contract is somewhat affecting the team, because you can kind of see that the chemistry with him and Joe is not really there, and I think it's kind of clear that Jamar is upset over the whole situation. So until that is resolved, I really think the team is going to continue to struggle and have chemistry issues with that. So that's why I think it's a major concern going forward. Definitely want to resolve that as soon as they can. But the Chiefs probably will win a close game, a 1-score game. I'll go 24-20 Chiefs.
24-20. Okay, so you have to actually make the Bengals doing better than what they did last week and hanging in with this team. That's possible, because they are the Bengals, and Joe Burrow, as we talked about, you don't get ranked to those levels without doing something.
I really do think the Bengals need to win this game, though.
Bingo. That's a good point. That'll be a good one. So in that light, is this a statement that the Bengals need to make to win this game, Jay? And if you think they do need to make a statement, do they win this game?
To answer the first question, yes, this would be a statement game for the Bengals should they win this game, considering how they looked last week. A lot of people were saying that Pats over Bengals was the biggest upset of the week last week.
It was.
But I'm taking
What's
Chiefs.
the argument?
No argument for me. No argument for me. Although Rafael Esparza did call half-heartedly a Patriots victory, he's an odds maker, and he was saying because people were taking the Bengals so much in the survivor pick, they were saying don't be surprised if the Pats steal that one. So there's that. But with that said, it's the Chiefs because of how the Bengals looked last week. So until they get it together and show me otherwise, I do have it closer though. I'm going to say Chiefs 27-20. I got a touchdown game. Burrow looks better than he did last week, but look on the other side. You got Worthy, Isaiah Pacheco and company, and then there's that number 15 guy.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing to this, JJ, and I know we got to get to the get to Dom stuff. Is that if everyone loved how Worthy looked last week, you are gonna fall in love with them this week. The Bengals are not gonna know what to do with them. That's all I'm going to say. Worthy goes off this week.
That I can agree with because speed kills, and speed has always killed those Cincinnati Bengals. Speed has always killed them.
So you think Worthy should be a gauntlet grinder for next week?
Absolutely. Book it, James.
I'm booking it.
Dom, 2 quarterbacks that you're very high on, super high on. Who do you have winning this game?
So when you said 1 is 1 and 2 is 2, is that you quietly admitting that Burrow is better than Lamar Jackson?
I actually said that most people think that. I didn't say that's what I thought.
I'm just playing.
I know. They're both better than your quarterback.
I'm assuming that T. Higgins is going to play this week, and obviously Jamar Chase is going to play with a full week of practice, but I've still got the Chiefs. I don't like that spread. I'm thinking Chiefs 27-24, or maybe even a higher scoring game, like 35-31. But I don't like the Bengals to cover. Do the Bengals really need to win this game? Yeah, they probably kind of do, but I don't think they will. The loss of Joe Mixon is looming, especially after what he did this past week.
You're right.
And I like Zach Moss.
I think Chase Brown's better than Zach Moss.
But this is going into year 2, starting at week 1 versus in years past, meaning prior to last year. The Chiefs defense was kind of up until the playoffs, but last year it was very good all year, and it's very good off rips this year. So yeah, Chiefs by 3 or 4.
You got the Chiefs by 3 or 4. You know, I got the Chiefs. And
But Burrow's still better than Lamar.
I think the statement is going to be made by the Chiefs that we are back to that type of dominance that you were accustomed to seeing during the Tyreek Hill days, because their defense is very sound. Their defense is disciplined. Their defense has a top 5 defensive lineman who wreaks havoc on pretty much anyone he faces. Their defense has a corner that is considered a top 10 corner inside and outside. And you know, it goes without saying, Patrick Mahomes. You have Travis Kelce. You have Xavier Worthy. You have Justin Watson. You have Isaiah Pacheco. I just think that, and you have the coaches and the system. Their system is together. I think that they're going to make a big statement, and I think they're actually going to win this game by 2 scores. I have them winning this game 27-13. I think that they're going to make a big statement because they beat a very good team last week. And the Bengals have too much going on. And if you can't run the football of any type of nature, you want to rely back on Burrow to throw without the weapons he used to have. Tyler Boyd ain't here. Jamar Chase is going through his motions. T. Higgins is going through not even figuring out. This is a different squad that you're going to ask for Burrow. I don't think it's enough this week, but I don't think the Bengals are in trouble. I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs, with their defense, with their offense, with their new toy, and we know that they're a team that once they show a new toy, it's not like a one-time one-off. That new toy takes off. I think they got this by 2 scores.
No, he's going. Worthy's going for over 100 in this game. I already know it.
When I tell you this much, to Tyler's point, he got to the touch on his first score in a blink of an eye. It literally was almost a blink of an eye because you sitting there thinking like, yo, I'm a big track guy. And that caught my attention, the way he scampered into that end zone. I was like, whoa.
It was very Jameson Williams in the NFC Championship game-ish.
The thing is, we know how Andy Reid is too, right? Andy Reid knows that now going into this, and then you got.
Oh, you mean the best offensive mind of this century?
Yeah. So I'm telling you, Worthy is gonna explode this week. If you play him in fantasy, do a prayer. That's all I'm saying.
Hollywood will be back. They got Juju. Like their offensive woes are over, and going through a whole season of of having offensive woes, they made their defense good from day one.
I hate to be that person because last week everyone said the Bengals were the lock of the week, and I figured that too against the Patriots. Unless you say the Saints. I mean, I don't know. The Panthers are just so bad. But regardless, I honestly think the Chiefs could be the lock of the week this week. I'd be surprised if the Bengals win this game.
Yeah, we all took the Chiefs, so that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying they're hyping this game. The only reason I'm saying this is they're hyping this game like an AFC Championship preview. But right now we're talking about week 2 in this game.
Yeah,
and we're talking about we have to go week to week. And week 1, the Chiefs came off an impressive win over against the Ravens. They showed their new toy, like JJ mentioned, and Worthy. And the Bengals look lost. This is not going to be as an exciting game as everyone thinks, in my opinion. That's all.
If it's exciting, it's going to be exciting for Chiefs fans because I think they can smell it too. I think they could smell the potential of their squad. And that last year they won, and we don't even talk. We didn't even mention the guy that had the Mr. Rashid Rice. There's so many weapons on this squad, and I think they're a good lock. Tonight's the Sunday night game. This is a game of 2 quarterbacks that
God, I hope you come through, Jay.
By many people's accounts, along with Jordan Love, are the future of the NFL. If you're talking about when you saw how Joe Burrow, the Josh Allens, and the Lamar Jacksons come into the play, these are the guys that people think are going to be in that caliber to take the NFL to the next level. CJ Stroud looked pretty good. Looked in tune. Tank Dell came back, was able to get some good chunks out there. Nico Collins doing his thing. I know because I had his receiving yards, so he covered pretty easily. Thank you very much. And then you have their defense, who is going to get better and be better because DeMeco Ryans does not do anything without a good defense. Just needs some time to gel. Do the Texans cover that spread? Are we in for a shootout of young rookie quarterbacks? Or are we in for a possible not what you expect type game? I'm going to go with Tyler because he had the most to say, and I know how he feels about the team that is in this matchup in your division.
Yep.
Caleb Williams or CJ Stroud.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm going CJ Stroud all day. I hope CJ Stroud plays the Mark Henry intro song going into this game from 3-6 Mafia. I hope CJ Stroud is lit out of a cannon when this game starts. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because of the way they kind of like the Texans mix it up, right? The Texans don't just go out there and sling it all day long. They do mix it up. They run the ball. The Bears like to kind of play time of possession and kind of milk the clock. I'm surprised they survived the Titans last week. And to be completely honest, I'm really down on the Titans. So I actually wasn't that impressed. I thought the Bears should have kind of ran away with that game. And instead they had to play catch up. So it didn't really, and Caleb didn't really show anything last week. He looked very, they got the win, but he didn't really show, there was no glimpses like Anthony Richardson showed in the Houston game, for example. We didn't see that from Caleb. I think the Texans win this game. I think they cover. I think it's like an 8-point win, though. So it's going to be close as far as the line goes. But CJ Stroud wins this game against Caleb Williams. He will not let Caleb Williams beat him.
Okay. You got nope to Caleb. Nope.
No.
Let's take it to the guy who
Pain and Nails boy.
Let's take it to the. Okay, I get you on that one. Let's take it to the guy whose quarterback is playing in that game, Mr. Jay Nelson. Do you have your quarterback taking Caleb Williams down?
Yes, I do. A couple notes here, because and some of them were brought up on the Bears Titans we talked about last week. It did take. Now the Bears defense did put on a clinic. Yes, they did, and their special teams. But it took a Titans choke job to do it. The Texans will be looking at game film and basically saying, okay, the same mistakes that Will Levis made, CJ's not going to make. And we get a lead, we hold on to it, and we keep their foot on their necks. Joe Mixon had 30 touches for 159 and a score last week. The only thing, now I don't overlook any team. The only thing that would even remotely concern me is the Bears' defense. But again, it took a Will Levis choke job to do it. It's not like, they played all 4 quarters. They played a half, So I'm going to take the Texans in this one. Texans 24-10 sounds pretty good to me. Wouldn't be shocked if it was 24-7, but Texas come away with the win in this one.
You got an ass whooping, huh? I said 8 points, so yeah, I hear you. I'm with you, Jay. Let's go.
You got the big win. So that's 2 up for big win. James Tatum, are you making it 3?
Yes, I am. And the reason I'm going to say this is because when you see the Bears last week, this was a team that got so lucky to beat the Titans. The Titans were up 17-0, had them where they want them, and they just completely fell apart. And I don't think the Houston Texans are going to do the same thing at all. If you give this team opportunities and turn the ball over, I think C.J. Stroud is going to execute and put a lot of points on the board. So let him do it. Caleb Williams, if you think you can show up and have another game like this, you're going to fall behind by a lot early. So I'm going to roll with it too. I got the Texans in a big win.
Ooh.
That's 3 of 3. Dom, 4 of 4. And we know how you feel about that squad in that division of yours.
Yes, this would be a 3-score win. This would be a 3-score win for the Texans if the Bears' defense wasn't so good. Tennessee was up 17-zip, running the ball with ease with Pollard, and then they went away from it. C.J. Stroud isn't going to make the type of mistakes that Will Levis did. Yeah, it's
yeah. There were some blunders in that game too.
Once that is a 3-score game, and it will be, then Caleb's got to start throwing the ball, and then he's going to throw some picks or fumble or both. Texans win big, 35-20.
So we have 4 of 4. The Texans win big. I often do this, and I'm doing it again. I'm going to take the Texans to win, but I will take the Bears to cover that spread.
Okay.
I think if it's as dominant as people are thinking it's going to be.
I said 8 points. That wasn't crazy. But
True, you did. 7 points, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. I do think, one thing I will say I noticed about Caleb Williams, and it's not a bad thing. It's actually kind of like, adorable, is that, he wants to reassure people that they're going to be okay. Because when you listen to his post-game interview after the first game, he articulated well, but he was long-winded, and you could tell that he was long-winded to try to tell Bears fans, I know all the hype that's coming with me. This is not an indication of what it is. But I think what's going to happen is his team's going to see that and tell him, bro, this is just how it goes. You could be the best in college, and you may get to NFL and have a game like that. You think Peyton and them go through all the lists of different quarterbacks and let them know, like, bro, you don't have to reassure anything. What you need to focus on is looking at this film, so whatever didn't go well, we can start working to go well. Because I think that's the only mark that you can try to have somebody build. They have talent. He just needs to get the ball to them. If he can get the ball to them, the talent of DJ Moore, the talent of Cole Kmet, the talent of Keenan Allen, the talent of Khalil Herbert is going to give them something. But I think that this is going to be a game that the Texans win. But I do think this is going to be a game that Chicago is going to actually look a little bit better than what they did in week 1. Because again, week 1, fresh into the fire, great quarterback, don't matter. Bad quarterback, don't matter. It's your first great dang game at the highest level and add on the expectations. You have to calm down. So I got the Texans winning. I got the Texans winning 21-17. So now,
and with the Titans too, like in that game last week, there was a block punt that happened in that game last week. I mean, there was
the Titans had more block punt, fumble recovery, and interception return yards.
I agree with you.
Did passing yards.
Dom, I agree with you. The Titans lost that game by shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know how much I can really say, like, and I am being a hater and I am biased and all these things. I'm not gonna lie about that. But I don't understand how I can be that impressed with that comeback, because the Titans blew that game and it was like very obvious to me. The Bears have a good defense. I'm willing to say that. Do they have a good coach? No. Do I think their offense is, a little overrated compared to all the hype coming into it? Yes. Do I think Caleb Williams is the next anointed star in the NFL? No.
Their O-line is still average.
And why? Because here's the thing. This is why. Because it's the Chicago Bears. I don't believe in quarterbacks. I don't.
He's the Chicago Bear. Not even Jesus can save him now.
It's just like some teams. It's like some teams just can't get it right. Green Bay at times just can't get it right with that defense, right? And there's always these like things. And with the Bears, they just can't get it right with that quarterback. And honestly, Cleveland too. If they let a guy walk that out the door who became a better player when he left. So I mean, the Bears and the Browns have that in common. They just can't get it right out of that position.
Okay, so we have 5 with the Texans, but all of us may have, one of us has a little bit of different, perspective on what's going to happen, and probably, a little bit different perspective on the Bears. Which, that's what happens when you have a group of your boys, you get together and start.
Of course.
Now, we go to the Monday night game, and I'm going to turn it to my co-hosts for the week. James Tatum. Want to sound us off about your squad?
I have to say that the first game in Brazil, it was a good game. It was a competitive game, but the thing that's concerning is the first 2 drives, turnovers. Late in the game, Jalen Hurts had another interception in the red zone, so they lost the turnover battle, but they still won the game. I don't think that's something we want to consistently see from Jalen Hurts. So I think for this week, we want to see more executing offense, taking care of the ball, maybe not making like all these bad decisions, which he was. But with Atlanta, they were not looking good against the Steelers. So I feel like it's going to be an intense environment. It's the home openers, first game in Philadelphia this season. And it's a hard place to play, and Kirk Cousins knows that. So I think that the Eagles are going to handle the business and get another win.
Okay. Yo, Tyler, what you got?
What I got is that Kirk Cousins is playing on prime time this week. He was in shotgun for most of the game last week. I don't know if that's because he's still like easing his way off of that injury. I don't know if it was because TJ Watt was, on the other side. I know that last week when Green Bay played Philadelphia, yes, they got turnovers, but the Eagles were able to stall Green Bay both times in the red zone. I was actually quite impressed with the Eagles' red zone defense. I think that's going to play a factor here. If the Falcons do get in the red zone, I think the Eagles can stall them for field goals. And I was pretty impressed with Saquon last week. Saquon looked very good last week. I think the Eagles win this game, and the Kirk Cousins primetime phenomenon continues.
All right, Kirk Cousins primetime strikes again. Can we get Jay Nelson up in here? What you got, my boy?
Eagles. As James said, Jalen Hurts made a couple of mistakes his first couple of drives. I think he cleans that up. I think they continue to feed Saquon. Saquon had a 3-touchdown game last week. And Kirk Cousins at home, I mean, granted, yes, it was the Steelers defense, but not the way you want to make your debut with a new team, especially with them paying you all that money. Again, Kirk Cousins has the best agent in the NFL, probably, okay? But Eagles 31-17. He's not going to silence Lincoln Financial Field. Bijan Robinson may be the best player on that offense on that day, but too much Eagles, especially if Saquon goes off. Yeah, lights out.
Okay. Dom DeRubeis, what you got?
Well, when I skipped over like the heading with the colon next to it that said MNF, I'm like, oh, maybe the Falcons have a chance, but it's Kirk Cousins in prime time. Kirk Cousins and the Falcons could be playing the Giants or the Panthers at home on Monday night and would still lose. And last week, when their defense held Pittsburgh without a touchdown, and they still could not do anything with all those weapons, Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, could not even get into the end zone.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney.
Come on, Kirk Cousins. Shout out to Kirk Cousins for being the best stealer of NFL paychecks of his era. This era, it's Dak Prescott. They're the same dude. Same dude.
Fair enough. So I guess I will end it with this segment on here, and I'm actually going to go with the Eagles as well. I think they are a team that their offensive line, it took them some time to get a little together, but they looked pretty decent this week. They still have their elite core weapons on the outside, at tight end, and running back, and their defense is going to be all right. Their defense is going to be better. There are still some questions at the linebacker spot, but I think their team is going to figure it out. I will say this, and both the men at the top are a testament to this because it happened in this game as well. Eagles safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson sometimes shoots a little too much and gets burned. And I don't think you want to do that if you want to really win this game decisively, because Kurt is a comeback guy. They do have talent on their squad. If you give them a chance and you give them a big play, it may make it interesting. But I do think the Eagles are going to get this game because I think they are the better team. I think they have the better group of guys on both offense and defense. And I think because the Falcons are bringing a new quarterback, a new whole system, a new coach, they're still figuring it out. I think they're going to be a decent team, but they're still figuring it out. But I got the Eagles winning this game. I will say I got them not covering the spread. I got them winning by like 6 points, but not get the 6.5.
Yeah, and just one last note on this is because I saw Bacon coming across the screen, and I know Bacon commented on this when we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think we're doing our division picks or whatever, and I said I thought Tampa would win this division because I don't know what the health is of Kirk Cousins, and coming off that injury, going into the NFL season, we don't know if old Kirk is back or not. Last week, he was in shotgun for 84% of offensive drives. That's alarming to me a little bit, because that's not typical. That's not what he's done all with the Vikings. So I think
he can't even win on Madden playing.
He doesn't want to be doing that with Jalen Carter chasing after him.
And everyone just tried to hand this division to Atlanta. It's like Baker just won that division.
Yeah,
had the best season of his career.
I think people are sleeping on Tampa a lot, man.
A whole lot.
Maybe we're also sleeping on the Saints.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe
I don't know. Maybe.
Hold on. Maybe the Saints are the real team to be a threat to Tampa instead of Atlanta.
James is it's possible. Atlanta could be the thing. Is Atlanta could be the pretender. of this NFL season. They could be.
The top 3 quarters of that division might be 9, 10, 11 wins because they're all getting 2 wins against Carolina.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with you there. Carolina looked like
now with that, guys.
North Carolina, A&T Miners.
All right, so let's wrap it up, guys, because what happens with the fellas, and if you've been in a group of guys like we do, you know how it goes. Things can turn, so we could be at it for hours. But we do have to conclude. We got through the season, week 1 and week 2. We got our previews out. Is there any last words that you guys want to have, like little tidbits that you want to throw in, or we good?
I'm good. I know Malik Willis is. I wasn't here for the Packers pick. I know Malik Willis is starting. I hope we do an end around to Jaden Reed 11 times in this game. That's all I got.
Because the next time Malik Willis throws a touchdown pass in the NFL will be the first time.
Jordan Love will come back against Detroit.
I just want Jaden Reed to get into action. If Jaden Reed gets into the action, we'll see what happens.
Jaden Reed, Sparty Party.
Yeah, he's a baller, man. So,
give him the ball. Let me not forget, fans, commenters, Wyatt, Bacon, everyone who joined in and was active with us and stayed with us through the entire segments, and everybody. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys coming with us. We know we can talk a lot. I know I do. You already know. But I just wanted to get that in with you guys because we really appreciate you guys coming in. I'm going to give it back to you, Tyler. Let me know what you was going to say, man. My bad about that. Just had to get that in for the fans.
And my last thing that I was just going to say, I don't have a college football team by any means, but anyone that knows me knows that I'm from Illinois. I was born there and stuff. Shout out to NIU beating Notre Dame last week. I love it. Yep. Shout out to the MAC school. Good upset, and I love to see that. So good job, NIU. Way to get it.
A second-tier MAC school.
Yeah, good for them.
Kenny Galladay and Michael Turner were celebrating.
There you go. Michael Turner, yes. Mikael LaShore, too.
No, he's Illinois.
I thought he was Northern Illinois.
Nope, Illinois.
Okay, maybe not. Don't worry, no big deal. Well, guys, thanks for coming in. Come check us out next week, same time, 8 o'clock Eastern. And we'll go ahead and see you guys later, man.